So this is a disclaimer. I am not a doctor or a lawyer. I am not qualified to give anyone medical or legal advice. You take any advice in this video at your own risk. So for this video, I'm going to be telling you guys how I used to run my major trauma class. It might not be the best way to run one, but it's the way that I like to do it and the way that I was accustomed to it. Definitely much more experienced paramedics ran their class way better, but they had different ways to do it. But I'm just going to go over the ways that I did it. I want to be going over major trauma before minor trauma for the following reasons. Major trauma calls are harder than minor traumas in the aspect that you have to work fast. You work faster than minor trauma calls. However, major trauma calls are easier than minor trauma calls in the aspect that you talk less. You do more, you talk less. In that way, sometimes major traumas are actually easier than minor traumas. If you're a type who's better at working their hands and just moving, it's going to be easier for you than minor trauma. And also, in terms of minor trauma, you can get some shitty paramedic preceptor, some shitty fucking paramedic FTO who will fail you for a minor trauma call because you didn't fucking ask when was the last time that the patient took a shit, or some stupid non-pertinent question. Oh, when's the last time you ate something or you took a shit, fucking bullcrap. Anyways, yeah, I'm a huge proponent of the belief that there are 1,000 different ways that you can run a call. There's 1,000 different ways that you can choke a chicken. You just choose the easiest way for you. At least for the EMS side, as long as you fulfill the criteria of taking care of A, B, C's, you can run a call in any way that you fucking like. Unfortunately, most paramedic trainers and preceptors, fire captains, EMS supervisors, a lot of those pieces of shits, they don't believe in this. A lot of people in EMS like to be very anal about doing things their one specific way. Mostly this is because this is mostly because EMS is full of dirty sex degenerates who are obsessed with buttholes. So yeah, if you're a paramedic intern, don't listen to my video. The only one who can pass you on your internship is your preceptor. So run calls the way that they taught you or want you to. Don't listen to some random fucktard on the internet like me. The only person on the internet that you should be fucking listening to is Alex Jones.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Not gonna lie, that dude actually does predict some real fucking shit. Mystic Mac, he predicts these things. But yeah, so if you're already an established paramedic with your own specific way of running major trauma calls your way, this video is not for you. This is more for people who are newer to EMS, someone who's looking for some kind of nice autistic structure to running calls. Because again, I believe that autism is the key to healthcare. Because I believe autism can save patients. And before you get mixed up, having autism and being retarded are completely different. They have one huge difference, and that's whether or not you fucking own Dogecoin. Yeah, diamond hands, motherfucker. Recently I was doing community service because a judge ordered me to. I was doing community service because I love my community and I'm about repping my set and shit. What's up? I was volunteering at the local special ed class, helping teach all those stupid fucking retards and crap, make sure they don't shit on themselves. And anyways, in the special ed class, there was this one smart autistic class in the class, with really good Rain Man autistic memory, great autism memory, Rain Man and shit. Yeah, and I was talking to this autistic kid, and I was like, hey yo, you should be a doctor. Because you have a great fucking memory, right? You can count cards. And after this stupid, autistic kid was done sniffing glue and eating paint, he turned to me and was like, oh, derpy derp, no, I want to be a paramedic firefighter. And I was like, oh, fuck, you're kind of making a mistake. If you haven't seen my first video yet, you gotta watch that. Don't become a paramedic. Yeah, I'm pretty much making this video just to give advice to this autistic person who might be better off sniffing glue with the other retards. So again, before I get on to it real quick, a lot of this stuff is stupid fucking specific because again, this is the my way that I ran calls. You don't need to run the calls the way I run them. You can take some pearls of wisdom here, change the way you do it, or just say fuck it, I can't run calls like this. First way how I run trauma calls. There are 3 things that I believe are in EMS, like the 3 different like elements and shit: delegation, preparation, and talent. It is always like a weird fucking like Rochambeau. Preparation beats delegation. Delegation beats talent. And a talented paramedic with great fucking skills beats the prepper, the doomsday prepper paramedic. And typically, like paramedics and EMTs, unless you're stupid fucking talented, like you're a fucking surfer bro or a bartender, you can only pick 2 out of 3. That's just how life is. Like, you can only pick to be good at delegation and being good at preparing, or you can be a talented paramedic who's only good at delegation too. You can pretty much only pick 2 out of 3 for the most part that I've seen. So like the first part, I'm giving you the autistic way how I run calls. Preparation. People with autism love preparing for Dogecoin and crap, and like GME and shit. So even before the trauma call starts, your fucking shift started. Have your motherfucking rig ready. And by that, I mean have a bag spiked, have suction ready. Again, you might not like this because you might not say it's not sterile. Personally, I like to grab the suction. I would open it up and just hook it up to the tube. Obviously, I would keep it in its packaging. The packaging is obviously now open because I had to hook it up to the suction right by the captain chair. So some people say, oh, that's bad because it's not as sterile, but it's still in the packaging. Take that what you will with it. Have, again, the saline bag spiked. So that's going to be pretty much ready. So if you have your trauma for your first call, or hell, let's say you're 3 calls down and there's no bag spiked, spike your fucking bag. The next thing, I want my controls on. And by controls on, by the captain's chair, I want it on, for the lights, I want it on high dome beam so that it'd be super bright. I already have that like ready. So if I turn the lights on, it'll be on high light. Next, I want the heat, because I don't want it on AC cooling. I want it on heat. I show up for my shift, I just click that one button. And obviously, I don't mean you're turning it. I don't mean to turn on the AC when you start off your shift. I mean to have that button to be pre-designated on heat. So when you hit the AC button, it'll be on heat versus cold. Because remember, you got to keep trauma patients fucking hot. And you really don't need to cool that many patients down unless it's like it's in the summer. Next, one thing I like to do is I would have an IV kit ready. Because never expect a firefighter never expect a firefighter paramedic to know where anything is in your fucking rig. So I would pretty much have like a piece of chucks. I put everything that you need for an IV in there, for a large bore IV, for pretty much a trauma IV. Wrap up that chucks, put it like on one of the things. So pretty much if someone came in and I wanted them to delegate a stupid monkey skill that is an IV, I just grab that chucks and throw it at them like, hey, yo, here. And obviously when you throw it at them, you throw the blood glucometer there too. Because if you're going to do an IV, might as well get a fucking sugar. So that's pretty much the things that I like to get ready to turn on my shift. To get my shift when I'm starting my shift. I like to do that shit so I can get ready in case of a stupid trauma call comes. So let's say your shift has started, you got your rig prepped up, you're in a nice preparation, you're chilling with your sniffing glue because you're have autism and crap, and you're chilling waiting for a call at your post. And then you get dispatched for a code 3 trauma. All right, what are you going to do? Right when you fucking hear dispatched, medic 69, you are dispatched for a code 3 trauma, code 3 fall, code 3 auto versus ped, code 3 shooting, stabbing, whatever it is, code 3 trauma. I hit the light up there because, again, I'm assuming that you're a paramedic and your partner is an EMT or medic who's driving. You're the lead medic. So he's going to be focused on maps and driving or getting to the place. Immediately, I like to turn the light down on. So that means the cabin will immediately be bright. Then I will hit the AC button because remember, you want your trauma patients to be hot, at least. Again, because medicine's always fucking changing. I don't believe anyone who says that they know anything about medicine is fucking full of horse shit. At least from what I was taught when I was a medic, was you keep trauma patients warm. There's actually been some weird fucking studies in the middle of like butt fuck somewhere where they've actually been doing therapeutic hypothermia for trauma patients and actually been having good outcomes. So if that's the case, then have it on cooling for instead of heat. But again, back to the way that I used to run claws. So I turn on the light, I turn on the heat. Because let's be honest here. The ambulances are fucking shitty. The equipment is fucking shitty. Your partners are fucking shitty. And like the heat, especially, it takes a while to get the fucking heat on. So right when I get dispatched, I turn that fucking heat, turn the fucking light on. So that it'll, by the time we get there, it'll be fucking warm and toasty for your dying dead patient. And at least for the lights, that was one thing, because I used to work fucking night times and shit, where you could not fucking see shit. So I like it bright. I want it bright so I can actually see my patient, so I can actually assess my patient. So wee woo, near, you're fucking going to your stupid trauma call. In the middle of the butt fuck night when you should be sleeping. Personally for me, I really for almost every call, whether it's trauma or medical, I don't care what it is, I like to be first on scene. So I'm going to go with that first, what to do when you're first on scene. The only calls really that you don't want to be first on scene is like highway trauma. Like I've had like a time when I was first on scene for highway trauma, like literally even before the fucking the highway like cops came to fucking secure scene. I was before them. I was there on scene before them, and it was like sketchy as fuck. Like again, if it's like a highway trauma or some scene safety crap, you definitely might want to fucking just chill for like a minute or 3 or 5 minutes before you even start going on route, just to make sure some fucking hands can go there and make your fucking scene safe and crap. So anyways, back to it. Let's say you are first on scene, like how I like it. Right when I'm first on scene, because again, people with autism love fucking times. They love fucking numbers. I'll look at my watch immediately. I will write that time on my fucking glove. I will know when I look at it later, because I want to be out of here. I want to be out of scene in 10 minutes from the time that I wrote on that glove. And that's the time that you're going for, the golden 10 minutes. You leave your ambulance. You walk to the side door. You open it. Your jump bag should be right there. I put on your fucking jump bag. Close the side door. Then you walk to the back door. And again, I don't know fucking how your fucking ambulances are set up, but this was how the way the old ambulances that I worked in was set up. I open up the back door. The back door, I always prepped it to have, that's where the back door, that was where our backboards were. I always put a C-collar right next to the backboard and a headbed. I would just grab the headbed. My partner would, I would leave the C-collar and the backboard for my partner to grab. So pretty much again, I'm having the jump bag on my back and I'm having a headbed in my hand. Next, I'm going to start approaching my patient. Again, this is major trauma, so we're already assuming the patient's fucked up, right? Specifically, I like to approach the patient from the patient's right. Why did I do that? Why is the patient's right so important? And this is not for every single EMS provider. If you work in an ambulance company that gives you big fucking ambulances where you have access to the patient's right and left, where you can do CPR compressions on the patient's right and or left, you are fucking lucky. You don't know how fucking lucky you are. Like most ambulances, literally once you load a patient up into the ambulance, you lose access to the patient's right. So if you missed an injury, it's so much harder to assess it, so much harder to treat any patient, any injury on the patient's right. Like literally, you are losing access to 50% of the fucking patient's body. It's completely like stupid how ambulances are fucking designed and crap. But yeah, it is what it is. So again, let's say you're not lucky. You have a small ass ambulance that makes you lose access to the patient's right. Okay, so you're going to walk with your jump bag and your headband, and again, you approach the patient from the patient's right side. So when you go there, you're going to be touching the patient's right radial pulse. Next, let's start off with APU. You're walking, you might want to, let's say the patient's lying down on the concrete surface in the street. This part's going to be kind of more like, I guess, NREMT, honestly, but, so when we're APU, You're walking up, just yell something. Hey, homeboy, like, what's up? You awake? If you're fucking awake, don't move your neck. Whatever. Again, and then let's say this is major trauma. So let's go with more that, let's say you're fucking unresponsive to you. Let's go with more of the worst case scenario, because again, this is major trauma. And again, if they are awake, or again, you can say something like, hey, don't move your neck, for the whole stupid C-collar thing. Yeah, if they are awake, then you go down your whole anal 4 shit. And yeah, speaking about C-collars, because some people might be like, oh, yeah, if you're first on scene, why aren't you going to go grab, like, the patient's head and be like, and fucking, like, do the whole C-spine thing? And again, we're going off based if I'm first on scene. There's a few reasons, like, first, let's be fucking honest about stupid C-collars, right? C-collars and C-spine, I mean. C-collars and whole backward immobilization. The only reason why paramedics and EMTs use full C-spine immobilization, meaning C-collars and backboard and full C-spine immobilization, is to protect our own fucking licenses. The only reason why we do that is because a lot of times if we don't do that, that stupid fucking nurse, that stupid fucking doctor, they're going to rip us a new fucking butthole and threaten to take away our licenses. We only do that because it's in our fucking protocol. If you actually look at the fucking data, full C-spine immobilization does not help, like, any patients. It fucking increases on-scene times, and you don't really stabilize shit. If you, like, literally, if a dude had a spinal injury and was already paralyzed, you fucking putting him on a backboard is not going to suddenly fucking fix him. Be like, oh, because you put me on a fucking C-spine and a backboard, I suddenly have CSMs. I suddenly can feel my fucking toes. No, that does not fucking happen. You do not fix anything. You do not heal anything with a fucking backboard. You're simply wasting time. And literally, they found out pretty much that for the neck injuries, for the spinal cord injuries, literally only 2% of them actually benefit from it, and they don't benefit from full C-spine. They benefit from a simple C-collar. Again, I don't really have any fucking data in front of me, so I could just be speaking out of my fucking ass and fucking memory and shit. But pretty much about 2% of the 2% of the neck and spinal cord injuries are the only ones who actually benefit, and they benefit from a simple C-collar. These 2% of patients are the very super rare ones, the ones who walk up to you, are talking to you, and they suddenly turn their neck a weird fucking way and they drop down to the floor paralyzed. That very, very rare sensitive neck injury, they literally tweak one way, and their very unstable injury becomes completely irreparable, and they fucking fall to the ground paralyzed. Those are the very rare patients that fucking benefit from C-collars. Literally everyone else does not. So you are pretty much banking on, because again, it takes fucking time to get on scene. Even if you're first on scene, it takes fucking time to get on scene. You're telling me in, let's say, the fucking 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, in the time that it took for me to get on scene, you're telling me that patient did not tweak their neck, turn their neck one time to look around their surroundings and fall down paralyzed? Like, yeah, they have neck pain, but they probably don't have that rare 2% of neck pains that become paralyzed from turning their neck wrong in the time that it took me to get there. And again, I'm not completely talking shit about C-spine, C-collars. Put a fucking C-collar on, you know? I'm mostly talking shit about full C-spine precautions. Nothing wrong with putting a C-collar on. Again, there are cons of C-collars, like it fucking makes airway management a fucking bitch. It makes suctioning a head trauma patient fucking bad if they start vomiting. There are cons to it, but you know, don't get it twisted. There's nothing wrong with putting a C-collar on. Sorry, so I kind of got off track about my hatred for C-collars. What did I say? So yeah, back to APU. Sorry, yeah, APU. You go to APU to check responsiveness. If they're responsive, go down your ANO4. Or, you know, just talk to them. Hey, man, what hurts, man? What happened here? You got shot? If unresponsive, we're going to go more with the unresponsive algorithm because this is major trauma. We're going to make it worse. Now, goes down to CAB. They are unresponsive. Let's go check responsive first. A nice fucking sternum rub. If they are unresponsive, check pulse. Feel for a radio. Hopefully, they have at least a weak radio. If they have no radio, then I would like to feel carotid. If they do not, let's go best case scenario. Best case scenario is they do not have a carotid, because that means you get to do less work. At this point in time, my partner is still grabbing that stupid fucking C collar and backboard out of the ambulance while I'm on scene with my jump bag and headbed on the floor now, checking a pulse. I'm going to yell to my partner immediately. If he has no carotid pulse and no radial pulse, I'm going to yell to my partner, hey, yo, can you grab me the monitor? I think that's more important. Notice that I left the monitor in the ambulance in the beginning. Because for the most part, you don't fucking need your monitor for traumas. At least until you get into the ambulance. On scene, you only need your jump bag. That's why I only carried my jump bag. You don't need your monitor. But for this very rare case, you will, if he has no carotid. So my partner instead, in that case, would leave the C, would stop grabbing the backboard and C-collar, would grab the monitor and bring it to me. At that point, then we slow down and we put a 4 lead on to make sure that the patient fits. Like, because sometimes your fucking fingers lie to you. Sometimes you just can't feel a pulse because it's fucking weak, you know. Let's go see what the monitor says. If the monitor, if he fits traumatic cardiac arrest protocols, then you could actually call time of death and not work. That's best case scenario. Best case scenario is you work less. You work less and maybe lose your lunch and vomit. Fuck, burping. Best case scenario is, you call time of death, you work less, and I guess maybe you lose your lunch on dinner on the drive home, thinking of some of the fucked up shit you've seen. Again, consult your local traumatic cardiac arrest protocols for that. But let's go to the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, let's say he has either at least a weak radial pulse or at least like a weak carotid pulse. So at this point, my partner, I'm not going to yell at my partner to grab the monitor. I don't fucking need it. My partner is then going to still keep fucking around with the backboard as the caller to walk for me. So with that, I have determined his pulse. Next thing that I like to do, again, I'm first on scene for anyone else comes and before my partner comes, I like to treat, like, you should, when you go to a trauma scene, you should be treating it like you're going on a date. What do you want to do on your date? You want to get the other person naked as soon as possible. You want to find as many holes as you can and fill up all of those fucking holes. Strip and flip. And so if you're new to EMS, I fucking hate saying this, but really the two things that you should invest on, and by invest I mean waste your fucking money on because it's a stupid career and your company's not going to reimburse you for it, is you should invest in good trauma shears and a good stethoscope. The two things that you should put money into: good trauma shears and a good stethoscope. Because if you have shitty trauma shears, this strip and flip is going to be fucking hard. If you're wearing motorcycle leather outfit, it's going to be hard. And I'm not going to name any like specific brands of trauma shears or stethoscopes because I'm not fucking sponsored by any of them. None of them are giving me money. But like, yeah, like if any of those companies is watching this video and they would like to sponsor me and give me like some fucking money, yeah, I mean, I'll shout out your product. Just putting it out there. Like hell, if fucking Raid Shadow Legends, fucking Raid Shadow Legends came out with their own brand of stethoscope, just fucking hit me up and I'll fucking say that Raid Shadow Legends trauma shears are the best, you know, give me money, you know. Anyways, strip and flip. After I determine the pulse, next thing I do is strip and flip. I'm going to put all these bullet points down in this description. Because I guess I don't have a script in front of me, so I'm getting off tangent like I always fucking am. Strip and flip. You want to get them as naked as possible, because again, I want to see those injuries. I used to work at night. There's no fucking light anywhere, and I'm first on scene, so no one has a fucking flashlight. You want to cut as much clothes as you can, as possible, so you can actually fucking see injuries. Now, this is an argument that I've gotten into. Argument or debates, I guess, some master debates with some other paramedics and crap and EMTs. So again, I'm stripping and flipping them right there out there in the middle of the street in concrete. Why? Because I would need to find those injuries. I need to get them naked as soon as possible and find the holes so I can film. Treat it like a date. a lot of paramedics I've talked to, they're like, oh, no. I wait until, like, I just package them up, put them in the ambulance, and that's where I strip and flip because I value privacy. Or other people will be like, oh, no, like, I strip and flip on scene, but I cover them up with a blanket. And again, I'm like, I don't, like, I'm like, that's not my priority because, again, A, B, and C's. I need to see C. I need to see where the fuck you're bleeding. And again, I'm assuming it's nighttime. If you're new to EMS, it's nighttime. You can't fucking see shit. I'm not going to fucking cover up an injury if I couldn't fucking see it in the first place. And honestly, like, so again, do whatever your preceptor or trainer told you. But my biggest fucking gripe, literally, with those medics who fucking say, oh, I like to strip and flip in the ambulance because I value privacy. My biggest gripe about that is they only do that shit when they have a fucking female patient, which I get, but at the same time, it's like, so you're saying you only value the privacy of your female patients, but not your male patients? Like, your male patients, their privacy is fucking, like, matter too. Like, oh, let's say this. Imagine this. Imagine you're a fucking ghetto gangbanger.
Straight out of you and your mom.
And you're a ghetto gangbanger, life's good, you're selling dope, but you're hustling, you're making money. You leave your mama, you're leaving your baby mama's place. You're a great gangbanger, you got hella street cred, like no one fucks with you, and then suddenly you get shot. And like some fucking paramedic comes out here, some holier than thou fucking paramedic who only strip and flips patients, who only strip and flips female patients in the ambulance comes, but is completely fine with stripping and flipping male patients comes, and he strip and flip you. And like, again, let's be honest here, you got shot, you're dying, you got trauma dick, right? You got trauma dick. You're not presenting to the fullest of your potential. It's going to be, and you're in the streets, it's going to be very hard to put more food on the table when your profession is based off street cred. It's going to be very hard to, like, can maintain that street cred when literally everyone on the fucking block is looking at your small ass trauma dick. And again, it's understandable. It's trauma dick. Your blood is shunting away from your unnecessary body part and more to your core, the more important shit. So, you know, so it's kind of like my thing was literally, you either respect everyone's privacy or you don't respect anyone's in terms of major trauma. I'm not respecting privacy because I'm respecting your circulation more than your fucking privacy, right? You know, and if your patient's awake, you know, just talk to them like, hey man, I get it, dude. I totally get trauma dick. Don't worry about it, you know. Strip and flip. Why do I have my jump bag on? Because I'm stripping and flipping. If I see anything, I'm opening up my jump bag. I like to have my trauma shit right. Like when I open my main bag, you gotta memorize where everything is in your fucking jump bag. I like to have my trauma shit. I open up the main pouch, flip it open, boom, trauma shit's there. What do you need? You need a tourniquet. You need quick clot. Maybe those are the only two things you need. If anything is not actively bleeding, I don't need to treat it now. I'm only getting tourniquets if I need it, or a quick clot if I find anything. So I'm busy. I'm in the middle of stripping, flipping, and finding injuries. Some time has passed. By now, your fire crew, your fire engine paramedic has probably arrived on scene by now. By now, your partner has grabbed that heavy backboard, has grabbed the C-collar out, and he's here. Now you have some fucking hands. This is the biggest thing why I like being first on scene, is because it makes delegating so much easier. I am going to go into two branches to help you out on what to do if you are not first on scene. But let's say, well, we're going with the same contingency that you are first on scene. You're first on scene. The fire crew does not know shit. You're the only one who knows anything. So now is time for you to start delegating. What are you basically, since this is trauma, there are only a few things that you need to delegate on scene. And by on scene, I mean you're not in an ambulance, you're on the fucking concrete sidewalk. First, history taking / taking pictures. Like if this is an auto versus ped, you might, if you have an extra hand, have someone like take a picture of the cars. Next, you're going to need multiple hands for backboarding, someone to hold the head for C-spine if you're full mobilization, and last one, someone to set the back of your rig up. So 3 things: history, backboarding, someone to set up the back of your rig. Here is a weird conflicting thing to do. So personally, I like to delegate history taking to my partner. The reason why, again, because a lot of times it's an auto versus ped. You want and my partner will probably like take a picture of like the damage on the car, so they're starring on the shield. Because again, I didn't see shit. I'm busy zoning in on the patient, on this dying patient, this critical trauma patient that I need to fucking treat, right? So, and if I delegate that to a fire engine, a lot of times, you don't work with these firefighters every single fucking shift, but you work with your partner, your full-time partner. You work with him every shift. You have a good rapport. You have good like vibes with each other. So I usually like to delegate history to him. And that's one of the reasons why I said in the beginning, remember, there's 3 things here for delegation right away. 3 things you want to delegate. It's almost honestly like medical. For medical, instead of like history taking, packaging the patient, someone sits at the back of your rig / monitor. It's honestly almost the same thing as medical, but for trauma. History taking, backboarding / set up your rig. Remember my first autistic point of setting up your ambulance? Remember the Rochambeau. Preparation beats delegation. Why did I spike that back? Why do I have the chucks ready? That way, I only have that way. I really believe in the autistic way of running traumas. The 3 things I need to delegate just went down to 2, motherfucker. Booyah. I only need to delegate history taking for my partner and the stupid fucking fire crew for the backboarding / C-spine. Can you hold C-spine? I need some good people to fucking pretty much log roll the patient. So again, you want to delegate fast. So while you're delegating and they're getting shit, they're moving the backboard, your partner's taking the pictures, you immediately delegate. Now you have a little bit of time, because every time you delegate someone to do something, you have to always account for the time that it takes for them to do it. So they're doing it. This gives me more time to continue. I'm going to continue stripping and flipping. If I did not finish stripping and flipping by now, I'm going to toss my expensive ass trauma shears that my company never reimbursed me for. I'm going to throw that at a firefighter. Don't throw scissors, but you get the fucking figure of speech. Don't be throwing shit. I'm going to hand my expensive trauma shears. That again, I'm not saying a specific brand, so that they can continue stripping and flipping. While I actually touch the areas of the body, do a quick blood sweep. If I find any blood, I'm going to start throwing quick clots / tourniquets to the fire crew. Hey, I found you see that actively bleeding thing on his right upper quadrant. Here's a quick clot. Can you do that? Hey, he's bleeding pretty bad from like the forearm here. Can you tourniquet that right arm? Toss stuff to them. Now that all the injuries are at least somewhat treated, because again, tourniquets are pretty fast. But let's say it's quick clot. At least, I'm not saying to quick clot and then tape it up nice and beautiful, because that honestly kind of takes a little time. And let's say the patient's bleeding, it's fucking slippery as fuck. So I'm not saying the quick clot perfectly fine. I'm saying at least to get the quick clot out and have someone be putting some fucking pressure on in that hole. Remember, get them naked fast, fill up the holes. You got a quick clot to fill up the holes. Doesn't have to be pretty yet. Does not have to be pretty yet and stay blessed. We gotta work fast. I'm looking at my watch. Am I at my 10 minutes yet? So at this point, you're treating injuries / half treated it with a quick clot, or you found no injuries that need to be treated, like contusions, bruises. Contusions and bruises are my shit, because you don't have to treat them. You just note them. You just make a note of them. Now we backboard. Now we package. Again, why did I say I like to go on the patient's right? I'm going to delegate a person to go on the patient's left, and they are going to log roll the patient onto the patient's left. Me and the other guys, we are going to grab that backboard and we are going to stick it on the patient's right. The backboard is pretty much going to go on the patient's left buttocks, because again, they're being log rolled towards their left. Again, these shitty ambulances, you lose access to the patient's right. No one ever misses an injury on the back, because every EMT school, every paramedic school always stresses, oh, don't miss the back, don't miss the back. No, fuck the back. We all know the back. Everyone misses the right side, unless you work in a nice fucking ambulance where you have access to the patient's right. At this point, I am going to look at the right. If the patient's a little bit lighter, and if the people who are log rolling the patient to the left aren't having too much difficulty log rolling him, I'm going to ask him, hey, can you lift up his right arm for a bit so I can actually look at the armpit? Really big. You don't want to miss that little bullet hole in the armpit. I'm going to do a nice sweep. If let's say the patient's especially fucking fat, some fucking fat piece of shit who's like breaking your back and crap, and they're having a hard time log rolling him, they can't raise up his arm for you, so you can't really get a good visual. At least do a blood sweep. Stick your fucking hand underneath that arm, do a little blood sweep for any things you have to treat. Because remember, circulation, really big. And I'm looking at injuries in the back, and why I kind of don't give a shit about backboards. If I see any circulation problems in the back, and any active bleeding in the back, I am not going to backboard. I'm going to tell the crew, because again, you want to assess that shit. Trauma patients, there's a huge fucking chance that they're going to like bleed through that crap, unless like you did a perfect fucking wrap. A lot of times, hell, even if you did a perfect wrap, they're fucking bleeding, you know. There's a good chance that they can, you want to reassess that wrap. You want to reassess that fucking treatment that you did, that quick clot. So if they have an injury on, let's say they're bleeding on the back, I'm going to start putting quick clot in that shit. And again, same things. I'm not going to tape it perfectly. I'm just going to put some fucking pressure on it for now. And I'm going to tell my crew, hey, I have bigger priorities. Let's say I'm still worried about C-spine. Well, I'm going to keep the C-collar on, but instead I'm going to use a yellow burrito. And sorry, for if you don't know what a yellow burrito is, I literally just mean like a yellow, like, you know, that shitty thing that you use to wrap up your dirty homeless patients with scabies. Use that, because it's a great way. You can use I'm going to use that, put that on the floor while he's still log rolled, while I'm quick clotting. Someone's grabbing the yellow, you delegate that. And little side note, firefighters don't know where anything is in your fucking rig. I always kept the yellow right on the catch of my gurney, so I could say, because when you delegate, be very specific, because they don't know where anything is your rig. So I say, hey, can you grab me that yellow on the back of my gurney? Can you grab me that yellow in that bottom compartment? Be very specific for locations. Don't just say stuff. You have to say, where is it? Because again, you can't. I hate firefighters, but you cannot count them. You cannot count it against them for not knowing where things in your rig is. I hate them, but I give them the pass on that. So let's say you're yellow burritoing them, you put the yellow down, that's how you transfer them, or you backboard them and you assess them. Sorry, I'm gonna go backwards a little bit. I'm gonna go backwards to a little point. So pretty much I just told you what happens if I'm first on scene and how to delegate. I'm going backwards to let's say you are second on scene. The fire crew is on has half of the patient package. They're never completely done unless your en route time was like, so unless you were like coming up from out of post. If you're second on scene to this major trauma call, first thing you want to do is, again, they know everything, you don't. They've been on scene for a little bit longer. First thing before I go out, again, I'm still doing the 10 minutes on my glove. I write down what time I got on scene on my glove. Grab my jump bag real quick. I'll keep this, because usually the firefighters, if they're first on scene, they have the backwater crap. I'm going to go up to whoever is going to give me the report in the fire crew, get a quick report from them. See, and so this will actually help you for medical calls and trauma calls. This will help you for any call that you're not first on scene. When you're first on scene, delegation is easy because nothing got done. I hate being second on scene because you actually have to slow down. Let's be honest, communication with the fire crews are going to fucking suck, especially if you are following my autistic rule. If you are following my autistic rules, that means you're an autistic ass motherfucker who can't communicate with fire crews easily, or anyone for the most part. They're going to give you a report, and it's probably going to be shitty because you are autistic. Slow down, slow your breathing down, and just think, what did he tell me? What do I really need to pay attention to? First, pay attention to history. Did he get the history? Did he know how fast the car was going? Does he know how many gunshots there are? What injuries did he see? That's what I mean for history. Like, quickly take some like mental notes or write it on your glove. I like writing it on my fucking glove. Makes it easier. Next, after history, what did they do and what did they not do? That's for anything for literally on how to take a report, how to delegate. You just focus on what they did not do. Oh, did we not, like, let's say the firefighter was like, let's say this is a gunshot, and the firefighter paramedic was like, oh yeah, we got 3 gunshot wounds, 2 to the anterior chest, 1 to the back. We don't know which one's exit. We don't know which entrance. Who gives a shit? They just need to be filled up. And then you look at which ones have you treated? Which ones have you? Like the one in the back hasn't been treated yet. Okay. I have my jump bag in my back. Take it down. Throw a quick clot to it, dude. Hey, can you take care of that injury? Thank you, man. You're awesome. Again, try to be polite with the fire crews, even though they're never polite with you. I don't fucking get that, but try to be polite with those pieces of shits. That's literally the only difference. That's only literally the difference between if you're first on scene or second. If you're second on scene, again, history from what history did they get? What history did they not get? What did they do? What did they not do? And then you just do what did they not do. If everything was done, then that just means you reassess what they did. / extricate. If they did everything, okay, perfect. They already have him on the backboard. They already got a history. Okay, let's extricate. Let's get the fuck out of here. Sorry. So now I'm going to go back forward in time to pretty much where I said. We were first on scene. We either have the patient in a yellow burrito if they have a penetrating injury that needs treatment on the back, or if nothing was found on the back, then we have them on the back foot. We load them up onto the gurney. Delegate people to move the gurney. Have your partner move the front or the back, or have the firefighter move the front or back. Pretty much you want to have someone else pushing the gurney besides you. Why do I like to do this? Now, because let's say the patient is awake. While you're rolling the gurney to the ambulance, if the patient's awake, I can actually talk to them more. Again, if they're conscious, you should have been talking to them while you were stripping and flipping them, getting nice, stripping their clothes off without buying them dinner. But let's say they got there fast, and hell, you can always talk to your patient more. You can always get more of a history. While we're rolling the gurney into the ambulance, this is the perfect fucking time that for me, I love to ask sample. Obviously, sample is not a big priority, but it's just easy fucking questions. Literally, hey man, you got allergies? No? Cool. Because again, it's trauma. They usually don't have allergies. You got any medical conditions like hemophilia or sickle cell? No? Cool. Yes? Oh, okay, cool. I'm not going to ask meds, unless I actually have time. I'm just getting allergies and what pertinent medical history did they get. I'll ask meds later. Meds is irrelevant. Oh yeah, you have AFib and you're on blood thinners? Cool. I'll ask you what blood thinner you take later. It's not important. I know you're on blood thinner. I'll tell the hospital you're on a blood thinner. I don't need to know the exact type. If let's say you're still rolling to the ambulance, usually you only have time to ask sample. But let's say you have extra time. Let's say this call is running perfectly. You're fucking nailing it. You're nailing it like an autistic badass. Ask more. Your partner should have gotten some history. You didn't recap with them yet, but let's. Your partner got a history from either bystanders or taking pictures of the damage. But what does the patient fucking know? How did you land? Did you hit your head on the ground? Is this an assault? Did they hit you in the head? A lot of these, I know a lot of paramedics hate yes or no questions. A lot of these are yes and no questions, honestly, because this is fucking trauma. I'm working fast. I don't want open-ended shit that leads to rabbit holes. I'm yes and no, and I can dig yes and no questions, and I can dig deeper. Like medical, you want open-ended. Trauma, yes and no questions. If something is suspicious, I will dig into it. And again, this is major. You don't really major trauma. You're not talking much. Like loss of consciousness. Any part of your memory seems hard to remember? Yes or no? Yes. Oh, okay. I'm gonna delve into that later. So you're loading up to you're loading the patient up into your ambulance. I'm hopping in. This is my personal rule for riders. If the patient is awake, I only need one rider, which is going to be the fire paramedic, just the two of us. If the patient is unresponsive or altered, like if the patient is head trauma altered or combative trauma, you want at a minimum of 2 fucking riders. Fire paramedic and a fire EMT. Let's say the patient is altered, but their airway is fine. Literally, if the patient is altered, I'll have the EMTs just sit in the captain chair and I'll tell him, hey man, can you just look at his airway and his pupils? That's your entire job. Sit by the suction, by the captain, and just by the captain's chair, look at the fucking patient's airway and tell me if anything fucking changes. Because I'm going to be doing some other shit. Airway is you. And so pretty much we're in the rig. I like to grab that chucks full of Ivy shit and I throw it at the fucking fire paramedic. I immediately tell him, hey, can you do an IV? And remember, when you're doing that, also throw him the glucometer. If you're doing an IV, you might as well get a sugar. I'm going to go real quick to like my partner before he closes the doors. I'm just going to tell him, like, again, I usually delegate my partner for fucking history. So I'm just gonna give a recap with him. Hey, what was the mechanism? Hey, like what fucking happened? Cool. Okay, did you get any history? No? Okay, good. And then and again, I'm doing multiple things at once. While I'm talking to my partner, the only thing on my monitor that I'm honestly putting on the patient is fucking pulse oximetry. You put the pulse oximetry, it's awesome because then you have pulse ox and you have fucking heart rate. Great. And you already have, and you should have already felt a radial pulse or a carotid pulse. So you already kind of know what their blood pressure is. Again, this is a contradicting state, but a contradicting statement. A lot of paramedics will disagree on me. I really don't give a shit about blood pressures on traumas. I care if I can feel a pulse. That is how I determine perfusion. A blood pressure to me is a fucking number. Like skin signs and can I feel a pulse is what I am more like prioritized about. I want to look at my watch. How am I doing on time? If time is permitted, like my partner at this point, I already got history from him. He sits. Me and my favorite partner, we already had a system. So he's going to sit in front. He's not going to drive you. I'll tell him, hey, can you give me a good 10 seconds so I can listen to lung sounds? Why did I not listen to lung sounds on scene? Even though I had time because I was first on scene? Because it's fucking noisy. Everything in fucking EMS is stupid fucking noisy. Before we're going on route with loud ass sirens, I want to take a good 10 seconds to listen to lung sounds. Again, you got to invest in a good stuff. You got to waste money on a good stethoscope and a good trauma shears. I'm not sponsored, but if any companies are listening, I would like to be. And this is the time, if you hear any weird lung sounds and the pulse ox is shitty, this is the time where you actually spend more time on scene to actually dart someone. Because if you can actually treat something, you want to. Like, if you can actually up their pulse ox and treat their tension pneumo by darting them, all right, tell your partner, hey, real quick, I want to dart him, and then you go. If airway/breathing is compromised, at this point, like, let's say airway and breathing is compromised, you handle that shit right then and there before your partner goes, again, before your partner starts driving. Unless time doesn't permit, unless you already hit your 10 minutes, then you just handle that en route. My big reason for that is I fucking hated open cabinets when I'm driving. When my partner's driving, I hated open cabinets. The worst thing in a code 3 call is having shit fly your fucking face from a stupid fucking open cabinet. So if airway/breathing for your ultra patient is compromised, I'm not saying to put the right size OPA and BVM. At the very minimum, obviously I would like that. At the very minimum, what I like to do is I would like to have the OPA bags. Like, I have a lot of bags. I have a bag full of OPAs back in my ambulance. I want to at least have that out. I want to have the adult BVM with an end title attached to it. At the end title attached to the monitor, I close the cabinets. And suction's already ready because I already prepped it at the start of my shift, so I don't need to do that now.